case, it's the same thing, only your business cards and your letterhead are now pieces of digital artwork. And so when you develop this core set of graphics, I want you to think in terms of what type of graphics you're going to need. Because it's not just going to be a business card size or a letterhead size. It's going to be different everywhere you go. Okay? The first thing you're going to need is an avatar. And an avatar is a defining image that goes in the profile picture section of all of the networks that you have. And that network, or that avatar, is going to be a square image in most cases. On Facebook, they do allow for oblong avatars, but I would prefer you to keep it square. I think that creates a more consistent look, because most places offer squares, and that's it. So in general, what I would like for you to think about in there is developing, no matter if your logo is square or not, finding a way to represent yourself inside of a square. I usually start out with a 600 by 600 pixel square, because generally there's nothing bigger than a 600 by 600 pixel square in a social network profile. And so that'll scale down well and also scale up well if it needs to be blown up or something like that. Okay. We also need to think about the different, like if you're showcasing portfolio, or you're showcasing your work, or photography, or whatever it is, I want you to think about developing a core set of pieces that are going to go across all spaces. Of course, if you have products that you sell, find your flagship products and make those into some decent photographs. Don't ever put junk up there. Okay? Don't do pixelated images. Don't do images that have been scaled infinitely to the point where they're unrecognizable. Don't do blurry photos. Take the time to make sure this stuff looks good. Also, develop in your core set of graphics references to your tagline and bio. And I'm going to discuss those in just a minute. If you look on my Twitter page, for instance, it's cut off because of the screen size of the issue, and I'm going to talk about that later. But I have branded myself. You'll see it right here. Look at that, right there. I've branded myself the Designer Trainer Geek. All right, that's my brand. That's who I am. And right here on the left-hand side, it says Designer Trainer Geek. It's cut off, of course, but at least it's there. People can see that, and they kind of make the translation. All right. When you look on my website, I always talk about welcome to my official home, Designer Trainer and Geek. Okay. When you go to Google Plus, Designer Trainer and Geek. So, find ways to incorporate that into your core set of graphics. Find ways to creatively display whatever your message happens to be. You fix toilet, fix best toilet fixer on earth, or whatever it is. Just find a way to do that. I want you to also work on a series of taglines, biographies, and catchphrases. If you do not have a canned tagline, bio, or catchphrase, you are doing yourself a disservice. Every time I go and teach a workshop, or record a DVD, or teach at a seminar, or teach at a conference, or whatever, inevitably the first thing they ask me for is a headshot and a bio. And if I don't have something that is consistent, I could get into a real mess. Because I want to be, everywhere I am on the internet, I want people to know it's me. And so what I've done, I've gone through and I actually worked with some PR people on mine. Okay? And so I handcrafted this little bio, and it's the same one that I use everywhere I go. Now, in some cases, I allow people to take poetic license with it a little bit and alter it up to change it for whatever it is I'm doing that particular day. But at the core, it still has the same information. Okay? So, my single point of contact is my website. If you want to absolutely make sure you get a hold of me, you fill out that contact form on that website. Because it's tied into an email address, which I have on my iPhone, my iPad, my MacBook. Everywhere I go, that email address is there. And somehow, some way, it's going to pop up and say, got an email address. And you can ask anybody on earth. I do not ignore when my phone dings or my iPad buzzes. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. All right? I was checking Twitter right before I got married. I'm not joking. I had my phone in my pocket. Seriously. So, if my wife's watching, that's not true. I know, it's just good. But, I mean, and a lot of people are going to disagree with that, okay? Because a lot of people believe in the theory of unplugging. And I'll talk about that later too. But I want you to make sure you're driving people to a single point of contact. And if you don't drive them there, like I said, you're going to be getting messages on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, everywhere else. Generally what I will do, if somebody sends me a message where I know I can't respond very quickly on that given network, I will say, please go to my website, fill out my contact form. Or I'll just give them my email address. It's the same email address, right? You have to be careful with how you do that, though, because you post that in a public way. Number one, people will, use that badly. And number two, it can be crawled, so you can start getting some spam. So, basically, let me show you how I display my email address online. Okay? When I go into anywhere, this is going to be really easy. Okay? So I'll do this. Okay? That's how I write it out. Nobody can crawl that. But if someone is tech savvy enough, they know what that means. Right? Because they can read it out literally to themselves and then they'll get it. Justin@Caesar.tv. Oh, I get it.